Welcome back, guys. It's time for another stream. Yeah. Yep. So I took about a little bit over an hour break since my last editing session this morning. And yeah, still a good afternoon. Excuse me there. Already did a little bit of my sort of ready to film sort of ritual of smoking a bowl. So I'm not going to smoke another bowl till a little later. Uh, anyway, this TV Fights 8, you guys, this is my season finale for this season of reviews. I'm going to be definitely planning like a season two, but first let me do one episode at a time. I can't wait to see how August, September, October, November, December brings me to fruition good ideas for season two. Let's speak on that for just a second. I'm gonna review SpongeBob, I think, in season two. SpongeBob, the newer episodes, some of them, I think I wrote a bit of some about some of them, worth talking about. Yeah, so SpongeBob is gonna be one to anticipate for season two sometime next year, or possibly even late this year. What else in season two? IT Crowd, the British show. I was just watching that in my little break. I was watching like two episodes. Yeah, some of the humor, of course, after all these rewatches, is not going to be as funny, maybe a little annoying, but that's something to talk about because some of the humor really, really made me laugh and was kind of what I needed. It didn't make me laugh super, super hard, but the thing is, like, with the pace of those British jokes, where these characters, actors are just running with the gag, the silly plot for 3 acts and just the rhythm of all the jokes they pack in, it made me laugh. It was so good. And it would be a disservice, is one of the things I would say, to talk about all the jokes in the episode without even actually watching the episode for yourself. It's like, yeah, I'll talk about some of the jokes and then, yeah, leave room for you to watch it yourself. So IT Crowd, SpongeBob, and then I think that might be it for Nickelodeon. For iCarly, the only and closest episode I was considering, and I've said before, I've been taking a break from this year from watching iCarly and Victorious. I watched like a couple episodes of iCarly a few months ago, and I have not watched Victorious in about 6 months or so, other than when School Principal reacts, over 6 months, other than when School Principal reacts to it. So it's good I'm keeping break. I don't think there's any Victorious episodes I want to review. I did a good job summarizing Tori Goes Platinum in my Amanda Show review. That was good. So Victorious, I'm not going to review, even though that is one of my favorite Nick shows. Drake and Josh already reviewed a second time, and so iCarly, I can only think of one episode. Perhaps there might be even a season one or two episode that I'm overlooking, but the episode that I want to talk about is Eyeballs from season 4 or 5 ish, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a funny plot. It's kind of meaningful. Some parts I don't like about it and the season, so it's kind of worth talking about. So tentatively, iCarly might be there if I'm doing a season two, but that should be not be planning right now. I mean, whatever, I'll plan as I go. So yeah, that's a lot to do. So one at a time. First, I need to finish this finale-ish season TV fights thing with the shows. So I was a little bit sort of anxious, apprehensive to myself because I guess I'm like the notes that I have for the two shows that I'm reviewing for episode 8. The notes are a little all over the place, but they can flow cohesively. They won't be as random as like TV Fight 6, the Trailer Park Boys versus Atlanta TV fights. In that one, I was making references to Zoe 101 Jet X because I was literally going to review Zoe 101, but then I realized I don't like rewatching Zoe 101 since I was a teenager. And other people have said that on their videos too, that the characters kind of suck. So yeah, I didn't have the enthusiasm to actually do a whole review on Zoe 101, but I referenced it, yeah, in the Atlanta review. I think connecting it to like the avant-gardeness of it. It was kind of a random reference, just like the Jimmy Neutron reference in that. But yeah, that was my way of summarizing the original plan of what I was going to review. But that's okay. Knowing now that some Nickelodeon shows, most Nickelodeon shows, I'm probably not going to review, kind of self-explanatory. Other than SpongeBob, at least I'm confident I can review SpongeBob next season. And then there's Disney too, which just kind of lightly coming back to. I watched like 2 episodes of Wizards of Waverly Place in the past year, which was a couple of months ago. Yeah, the episodes I was considering, other people have talked about them, but I like them. It's the Alex versus Stevie, where Wizards, good, bad, and the Alex. I was gonna review that one, and I might. It's a good episode, I think. Solid for what it's going for. Good stuff to talk about, like Max being manipulated. Just yeah. Then Hannah Montana, there's probably like one or two episodes in season 2 or 3 that might be worth talking about, that might be silly enough, absurd enough for me to want to review. But it's kind of difficult to find a Hannah Montana episode that I'd want to talk about, honestly. Not that there aren't episodes that are nostalgic. So, yeah, anyway, that's a lot to think about. But 5 minutes of chatting. Yeah, the whole reason I started streaming is so I can get myself up and about and not just sit with these thoughts of wanting to do it and actually do it. Actually do the review. So yeah, TV Fights 8, it's written. Just I was just sitting and thinking like it's not cohesive, it doesn't really flow, but I'm confident that I'll make it flow. You guys by now, by episode 8, you can kind of see what my personality is like, what my delivery is like, being like an essayist, writing essays in college about TV and movies, and then just talking casually. It's kind of two different approaches, both kind of difficult in their own respects. Talking casually about it, trying not to be repetitive or full of platitude or glib generalizations, which you also would try to avoid if you were writing a big critical analysis. But it's been good. I used to watch a lot of these movie review, TV review analysis videos, and thankfully that's slowed down in recent months. In January, like February, March and stuff, I was watching a lot of video essays again, and good is that I haven't really been watching a lot of lectures and film essays in those recent months, so that I can really implement that hands-on practical studying knowledge from all these years being in and out of film classes and stuff, and my own research and own practices, and just trying to make the world more fun and better, and or just it's a little bit of entertainment, like just I like making people laugh. I like comedy. I like when people dedicate their channel to being comedic and stuff. Yeah, that's great. So all that good platitude right there. It's my only intention. It'd be great if one day on a couple of videos I got 25,000, 30,000 views on a couple of video reviews. But until then, yeah, I have to build up to that. So yeah, very grateful. All right. It's about time I can start jumping in. I don't think there's I thought it would be more momentous of a speech or of a reflection to get the season finale of TV Fights done after a year of planning. I've wanted to do this concept for a long time, more than that. But yeah, so just forget me patting myself on the back here. Let, it's time to jump in. So, done being talkative right now for a second. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I have my TV fight script right here. What else do I want to say? I feel like there was more topics I wanted to talk about. No, yeah. Oh yeah, my name on this thing for 333 km. I think that was a reference to when I was live streaming at 3 a.m. earlier in the month. But also, there's this Charlie Chaplin short film called 1 a.m., which I think is really funny. I have to rewatch it. I've watched it like twice. It's like him slipping on a doormat. It's just slippery physical humor. It's like you really got to appreciate sometimes like what these old Fatty Arbuckle, Buster Keaton and all, Laurel Hardy, what they were doing physically with the limitations of film. Yes, maybe like you look at it and you're like, this seems like just basic camera setup, camera moves, but it was, you have to remember, it's early days of film, and they were just making it to entertain people. And who cares if the camera angles or whatever seem very basic and stuff? They, with what capabilities they had to implement so much unique physical humor, exaggerations, no sound for years. Yeah, it's such a art that I can't grasp. Just like sort of the art of riffing, because I probably could do TV fights, freestyle off the top of my head, freestyle about episodes, but I don't think that's my best approach. I think the best approach for me is outlining it. Yeah, the art of riffing and the art of doing nothing, you know what I mean? Those are a couple of other things that need to like kind of a skill. What I mean by that is like bedtime, for example, you don't want your mind just kind of being in autopilot. especially if you like sometimes have trouble falling asleep. You want to try to make it like a habit to like daydream, or like, what am I saying, like think about your goals as you fall asleep. I definitely encourage you guys and myself to try to do that more, to just think about good goals and stuff before you fall asleep, just instead of letting your mind be on autopilot. That's one of those things to remember. All right, anyway guys, that was a good amount of topics. Hopefully I can find some cohesion as I practice these lines. And as you saw in my previous live stream, I was using this mic for the first time, which is great. I was holding it like here, so it might look like my elbow is bending for no reason. I don't think it looks like I'm touching my dick, but if you saw like me in the live stream, you'll see that it is me holding this mic. If you see my elbow bent, so that's kind of an awkward position. I could hold it. It doesn't look that awkward to hold, I guess. Should I just hold it? Because otherwise, I could try to put it on the next to this chair, which is about 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet, about 3 feet away from me. I kind of think I want to hold it in my hand. I kind of think I'll try holding it in my hand this time. Why not? Why not? I'll do that. I'll hold it in my hand this time. All right. So yeah, I really hope if you saw the last live stream, like you saw me clapping before the two review takes on here. So I really hope that makes it easier. I've experienced firsthand of what it's like when you don't clap, when you don't make a clapping noise, and it becomes a pain in the ass to sync up the audio with the visual. So clapping, highly recommended. So yeah, sounds a little overwhelming. I have not used a handy recorder in a few years. My last one that I bought in 2012, it died out about 3 years ago. I replaced the battery, it's still dead. And this is the 12-year, 15-year later version of that same mic. Back then, looks like that was the only, pretty much the only affordable like handheld mic option available to most creators. Now, 12, 15 years later, there's so many handheld mic options. So yeah, that's cool. Simple. Why am I being overwhelmed by just needing to clap? I'll probably just have to snap. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Why am I? See, this is like the where the quiet moments come in. If I wasn't talking to myself on the stream right now, it would be like I'd be like, what's the point of doing this? But no, the only roadblock is that it might not feel very cohesive or not flowing together as a whole review. And so basically, I think I pinpointed the actual episodes. A lot of these notes are jumping around from things and observations of the shows and episode scenes in general. So it's like it was hard for me to spend time picking the exact episodes of the show, but I have a good idea. It's just I don't have an introduction yet. I have to read all my notes for the camera first, then I have to think of a way to sort of tie it all together. Uh, it was almost gonna be like the two episodes that I chose were season finales, but the Modern Family episode that I chose, and Loki, now I might have to choose a different one, was is like a mid-season 9, I think, episode, season 9, I think, or 8. This episode is in. I have to see again. Otherwise, I kind of talked about the season finale that I wanted to talk about before, so I don't know if I want to make it that the center of the episode. So yeah, you'll see when I start. But the Breaking Bad one, yeah, I think I pretty much know which episode I'm going to talk about. It's going to be Half Measure. Is Half Measure the second part? I'm going to talk about the first part, the penultimate one. Is that Half Measure or Full Measure? Gosh damn. Okay, so the Breaking Bad episode is definitely solidified. I was close to doing Confessions. I do have references to things that happen in Confessions. So yeah, I think Half Measure is a great one. Great one. And yeah, let me not forget that Confessions, the season 5 episode, was gonna be. I was gonna review that, but I've talked about the details that I like. I know it's my brother-in-law, Walt, and Jesse's acting, the way he looks at him. Oh yeah, that's the look. Like, this is great stuff. My own brother-in-law using me. Yeah, great shit. All right. Anyway, um, let's do it. I'm just rambling for like 15 minutes. Is it time to smoke a bowl before I do this? No. Let me try to record some. But see, like, I think one of the other main roadblock right now is, now let me go back to how that was before. Can't maximize it on this iPhone, but whatever. I think like whoops. That's a good place for the camera, I guess. If not, maybe they'll move it. Is that a good place for the camera? Can you guys see me? See what I'm doing? That's good. Oh, it's still gonna be in portrait. You can't see the camera, can you? That's okay. I guess it's fine. Where else could I put this camera? No, the way this was the best and only good place to put it. I'm so disoriented right now because I guess it's like mirrored, so I can't tell where it's pointing at because the screen is so small for me. Okay, let's get it. Whew. Forget all the opposition, all the BS thoughts that don't matter. None of that shit matters. Nothing matters. Right now, nothing at all matters other than finishing this. After finishing this, I get to do what I love to do, but not fall into distractions, of course. Now I'm rambling. Let's get this. All right. First here, as you've seen me do before, I am turning off the AC so that I don't get it in the sound. Okay. It's good that I'm streaming this because yeah, I can see my own process now. Otherwise, I don't know how long I'd be taking looking at the notes, fulfilling all the what I'm saying in the notes. So yeah, ready? Let me start the timer. TV Fights, episode 8, the season finale, being filmed right now. God bless you. God bless America. Let's get it. Starting the timer. Pomodoro timer. And yes, let me make sure to check between takes that we are in focus here. There is 8 minutes left on this current Pomodoro timer. Then I'm gonna give myself the leeway of about three 25-minute timer sprints after that. I'm pretty sure it should get done before that, but that's a good time. And I know being summer and all, it's only almost 3 p.m., so it's not gonna get dark for a while, and I should be well done before then. A little bit nervous. I'll do this. It's the season finale, and the AC just shut off. Let's go look at my notes. Where did I leave my iPad? That's crazy. I feel like I just had my iPad and showed you guys, right? Okay, yeah. So there's like 8 minutes left on the Pomodoro timer, the last one I was using from a few hours ago. But let's get specific, beat by beat. I think right now the goal here is let's try to record a couple paragraphs of the notes that I took. First, I have to get them kind of memorized and feel like they flow together. Oh, this is strong. This is strong stuff. Few different ways I could approach this. Where did I keep my mic? There it is. I like how I like how Mike asks Victor, "What about you?" If he got seen at the crime scene when Jesse shoots Gail. I love how Walt realizes that Gus is playing a deep game. And I love the confrontation when Walt realizes that Gus is playing a deep game, pitting the cartel against the U.S. government with his hit out on Hank being. And this is how by season 4, Walt is like. And so it's a little surprising to me how Jesse isn't kind of. And so it's a little surprising to me how Jesse isn't kind of more cautious. And it's a little surprising to me how Jesse isn't kind of more worried about whether Gus is just using him by season 4 with all the road trips that he's going on with Mike. It's surprising that Jesse might not catch on that Gus just may be using him when Walt is like, this whole thing is really about me. You can only assume that Jesse is trying to break a little bit of independence. You can only assume that Jesse is trying to gain a little bit more independence, working a little bit away from Walt because he's questioning Walt's decisions by this point, how good of an impact he is on his life. The lighting in this is the half shade of lighting in these shots are exactly like when Gus's face gets blown off. I really hope I'm in focus here. Shit, was that not recording? Come on, whatever. Okay. That was 2 minutes of lines. Shit. And the seasons keep offering so many fun things to think about, like what leads up to Mike deciding that Walt is a ticking time bomb. And by the way, that mall heist practice in Nippy Better Call Saul reminds me of the train heist in Breaking Bad. I love how the look that Jesse gives Todd right before he kills him is the same look that he gives to Hank during the RV interrogation, where he's like, "How could you have known that the bullets were there before you took off the tape?" He's like, "Guess what? That machine gun's not all, biatch. Get choked out." I just love rewatching Felina because it's like Walt goes on like five. I just love rewatching Felina because it's as if Walt is going on about 5 side quests before he signs his name in blood. So yeah, how could Jesse not see that he might have been being? So yeah, how could Jesse not see that he was being manipulated by Gus? With Walt and Hank being on different sides, with Walt and Hank being on different sides, this show and Better Call Saul does a great job in making it believable that it's Gus versus the cartel, these two giant entities, and the exchange of information between both of them in both shows. It unfold. You're able to suspend your disbelief. I like the way Walt's insane manic laugh in Crawl Space comes back the episode later when Jesse is confronting him about poisoning Brock. Because when these actors read the scripts, Bryan Cranston did not know that Walter poisoned Brock until he read the next episode's script. So he was. That was good. Do I need to take a tiny break? No, I have 3 minutes left on the timer. That was good right there. That was some progress. As you saw when I was taking some time reading my notes, the other notes are just kind of visual notes about things that happen in Breaking Bad. So how much do I want to like describe in this review a particular moment that I love, a scene that I love? Because I kind of already do that on my stream. I do that by talking about Breaking Bad and by journaling about Breaking Bad. Yeah. So yes, maybe after I actually finish filming this review, maybe I'll sit on it for a day, but I do want to release it before August, to see if how to make the specific points a little bit more all encapsulating. Because yeah, that was pretty short. That was like 2 minutes worth of review footage, and that was most of it. I still have some Breaking Bad notes in that Google Doc, and they go for the specific episode half measure. I have to make sure that it's half measure and not full measure that I'm talking about. So yeah, before we do that, let's unwind for about 5 minutes or so. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll call this break time right now because so what we got accomplished in this last 5 minutes is filming 2 to 4 minutes worth of review footage as well, and then in this next writing sprint I'm going to be summarizing the actual episode. So let me take a little break before I do that. And yeah, I actually had more notes on Modern Family. I was definitely taking more notes on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul in the past few months. So it feels good that I have a good meat of Modern Family stuff. Also, on the SD card that I'm filming on, there's only about 20 minutes of 20 minutes of time left on that SD card. So it would be a real nice thing if I finished talking about it in that time. Let me actually check if it's how much time I have left on this SD card because I have no idea what to delete right now. Probably a lot needs to be deleted, Loki. 18 minutes left on this SD card. That's that's a stretch. I think I could make it work. I can make it work. So yeah, this is a good time to take a small break and be very thoughtful and organized for a second. Thankfully, with these editing sprints, filming sprints, writing sprints, whatever you want to call it, productive sprints, In these last few live streams, I've really been able to lock in and be in flow state. I know sometimes for many people, including myself, it's hard to reach that flow with the writing or whatever, editing. But in these last few sprints, yes, just because I took the initiative to get started. And that's really what it's all about. The first steps to getting started, man. I still have to work out today. Like I said, it's been a few days since I've worked out. I have that queued up for me um, to finish today. Of course, if I start thinking about all that I have to still edit, might be a little overwhelming. We're not going to think about that right now. One step at a time. Oh, I gotta drink more water. Am I out of water bottles again? Shit. Oh shit, this is my last water bottle. So I have to get more. Oh jeez, you guys. What a day. What a day. Halfway done with filming the Breaking Bad review. I can't believe 2 to 4 minutes of talking about Breaking Bad is halfway done, but low key with a show like Breaking Bad, the less said, the better a little bit. Yo, I'm actually kind of baffled because I asked ChatGPT for some advice to approach my right before I was live streaming this. I asked it for any new angles I can approach it from, and all that it really said, its response was pretty short. It was like, yeah, you can. Let me actually just go back and read it for a second. Can you guys still hear me? I think so. This is what it said. It said, it sounds like you've already got a solid foundation. If you're worried about repeating yourself, maybe your angle this time can be fresh contrast. For instance, you could focus on how each show evolves over time, family dynamics or themes shift as seasons progress, or maybe you contrast the way both shows handle time. Breaking Bad's 2 year timeline. I'm paraphrasing. I think I already talked about Breaking Bad's 2 year timeline. Um, and then yeah, so picking a lens and observing it with that flow, and it said even if you touch on similar ideas, a new perspective will keep it fresh. So yeah, I can make that work. Can make that work. Let's take another few minute break here, so I have to drink this last water. What a great day. Keeping it simple, keeping it real, keeping it fresh. 18 minutes. I hope I can get it fulfilled in that time. Low key, should I be practicing a little bit? Maybe I should instead of standing up. Even though I did a good job, but that was only 2 minutes or something, 4 minutes of review footage there. I'll sit down and practice for a few minutes and we'll pack a bullet. Should I play some music? I'll think about that in a second. First, I gotta start the next writing sprint. Let me get that queued up. Cheers, guys. God damn, guys. Where did I leave my mic? It's somewhere. I'll find it. Oh, there it is. It's on my chair. Oh god damn. Ooh, you know what? During this break time, I think it's a good time to listen to this question that Abby Emmons is answering. I just saw this pop up on the other timer. It was a question someone asked, what do you think about using AI to evaluate your writing? Because, like I said, I've been asking ChatGPT for feedback, but it's actually been like over a week, 2 weeks since I've asked it for feedback. I do it pretty sparingly. But yeah, let's see what Abby Emmons' opinion is.
Checking that out. Cassandra Davis from SD Willie. I know the topic is talk to death, but opinion on using AI to solely evaluate writing, not generating the text itself. I would say be careful because some AI models are built to learn from the input and store that data. So I would recommend using something like that's actually built for writers, like Pro Writing Aid, They have bank level security, even though they use AI based models for what they offer in their software. It is fully encrypted, it's fully private. It is not going to be used to train any. So I would recommend using something like ProWriting Aid, where
I thought it was going to be a more insightful answer there. Let's see what other questions in this community.
for my mystery, when at the plot twist, I will reveal that my main male character is the culprit. Also, I'm not enjoying my story as much as I thought I would. Please help.
I've been there where you're writing something and you're like, I don't know if I enjoy this. I've been there.
Okay, so making other suspects, just bring in more characters, I would say. Like, bring in more characters, make them seem suspicious,
More
do whatever
characters.
you have to do to, like, give them a reason that they could reasonably have a hand in what's going on. And this is actually kind of the fun part. It's like,
That is good advice for these a couple new characters. I have to think of side character, friend characters based on growing up neighborhood friends for my main characters in my TV series that season 2 I finished outlining in June.
bringing in all the red herrings and misdirections, and letting the characters reason out, like in dialogue or in their thought processes, why they would suspect these other characters, because that is what creates this sense of the characters convincing you as the reader, like, oh, look over here, when really they just don't want you to look over there. And as far as not enjoying your story as much, try to add something in the next chapter that you know you would love to write. Make it fun for yourself. Do something unexpected, something a little bit surprising, maybe something a little offbeat that feels like it doesn't even necessarily belong in that genre, but it still works with the tone. Something that you would personally enjoy writing. Let's see. Hi there, Abby and Chad. I feel like my characters are completely aloof to their growing feelings for each other, both soldiers in time of war. How long do I wait until they realize their feelings? This kind of depends on the genre. It depends on how much is going on in the book. If it's like primarily romance, then your readers are going to expect them to realize their feelings and like progress the relationship in a like more focused way. Like that's the focus of the story, is making this happen, and you want it to happen before the end of book 1 if this is a series. But if it's not primarily romance and it's primarily as you feel like I can't continue because I've changed things now and I have to go back and change things, because if you are stopping progress because you feel like I can't continue because I've changed things now and I have to go back and change things that happened before I can feel confident continuing, then give yourself permission to go back and change those things, because it's all about momentum, right? If you recognize that something is stopping your forward momentum, do whatever you have to do to get the momentum going again, even if that means going back and editing something or fixing something that changed.
Good advice, right?
It's all about momentum. That's the end goal here, is just keeping that momentum going. So if you need
Light
that
this candle.
to be confident to keep going, then do.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to these few more minutes of questions that she answers. Then we're gonna try to jump into filming again. Let me light this candle first. Okay. Let's let this play, I guess.
I'm making progress on my outline right now. So it's all good forward momentum. Let's see, a question from the one and only Sophia. Hi, Abby. I'm struggling with character voices while writing to a point of view. Their sentence structure are all similar. Also, do you have any tips on preventing glorifying mental illness? Thanks. First question, making character voice cheat sheets would be my go-to first thing. I always recommend this to everybody. Making like a bullet point list, can be super short, super easy. Just bring your own records of things like what expression things, sort of dead one things. They grew up, their occupations, their medicine, their speaking style. How does their personality translate over to their process even? And by that I mean, like, how do they think? Do they think about like the worst case scenario, or are they optimistic? Are they always like trying to analyze something, or are they just kind of going with the flow? Like, what is their personality? How does it carry over to their voice? Think about that, write down those things in like a bullet point list, and then reference that when you're writing their point of view. Also, find an inspiration character that sounds somewhat like this character in the way that they speak, and listen to them for like 5 minutes before you start writing. It's just to get your brain kind of in the mode of what this character sounds like. I do this all the time to the point where I've come to rely on it. And it's honestly more difficult for me to slip into the character's voice if I don't have that few minutes of listening to another person who sounds like my character to kind of get me primed to write their voice. And as far as not glorifying mental illness, I would just say, like, depending on your character and what you are writing about, it's going to be different for every story, but kind of looking at like, what is their healing path? What is their path to growth? And I think as long as you are showing some form of growth and some form of healing, and you're showing that this character is doing the inner work to end up in a better place mentally than they started the story, I think any amount of growth, any amount of trajectory, even one small decision they make at the end of the story that they wouldn't have made at the beginning, that the audience can look at and see, wow, that's positive change for them. I think that will help you to not glorify it, but actually glorify the healing journey instead. Let's see, question from Chris Elder. I'm struggling with descriptions that include character voice. Again, character voice. My female main character is sassy and dry. My main male character is funny and optimistic, but how can I infuse character voice into this? Well, I think you already hit the nail on the head because you just described what their voices are like, right? Their personalities, but it translates into their voice. So
I am playing it at like 1.2x.
Sassy and dry. She has a dry sense of humor, so she's probably using a lot of sarcasm. She's probably never like showing a tell of like a smile on her face when she's telling a joke. Maybe the male main character takes some things that she says seriously when she's not being serious at all. She's being sarcastic and just like cuttingly sarcastic and dry. And then the main male character can think in terms of optimism, right? So he's optimistic, he's funny. Let him see the world in an optimistic way. Let him see the good sides of things, or imagine the best outcome. Or he's constantly cheering somebody on, or forcing them to look at the positive side of the situation. You know, somebody gets hurt and he's immediately cheering them up, making them think about something nice, something better, something that'll make them smile, make them laugh. He's always looking for opportunities to tell jokes and make people laugh. Like this mindset is not just a personality. It infuses into our voice. It's in everything we do. And I think the more you write these characters, the more you lock into their personality and try to see the world through their point of view, the more that character voice will come out natural. It just clicks after a while. I don't know how to describe it. It's like vibrato for a singer. Like I went years of not understanding how vibrato worked and how to do it. And it didn't matter how many videos I watched. It didn't matter how many voice coaches I heard talk about it. I'm like, how do you do this? And then one day it just clicked for me. It was like a switch flipped to my brain and I could do vibrato. I'm like, oh, I don't even know how to tell somebody else how to do this, but I get it now. So I feel like character voice, I always compare to that because it's like the more you do it, time, practice, and then eventually it clicks one day. I feel like I only have. First one is, hey, Abby, I'm thinking of doing an A plot, following the 3-act story structure, but was kind of thinking of doing a B plot in the same book that follows the hero's journey. Is this worth experimenting? Absolutely. It's always worth experimenting, I think. Experiment with new structures, do new things, try new things all the time. Everything is worth trying. One thing I just would say about using the hero's journey is just make sure that when you're using it, you're still tying it back to the character's inner struggle, their false belief, what they want, what they're afraid of, because that's where the goodness is. That's where all the emotional intensity lives, and that's what's going to connect with your reader's heart and soul. And that's what I've always felt the hero's journey was lacking, and even the traditional 3-act story structure is lacking. That's why I've adapted it. And in my book, Make the Story Matter, we follow the character-driven 3-act story structure. That's why, because we're tying everything back to the character's heart and soul. And I think you can tie in the character's emotional struggle, their inner conflict, into any story structure. So hero's journey, save the cat, 5-act structure, 7-act structure, whatever you want, whatever you feel called to. So absolutely worth experimenting.
I've heard references to Save the Cat. Is that basically 4-act structure or something? Save the cat, according to this, is a 15 beat instructions. Okay, I'm reading this, and there's similar elements to what the other act structures do. For example, by whatever act 3 or 4, the midpoint, not the midpoint reactionary yet, the after that, the aha moment where this new awareness, this new like knowledge or discovery or action or whatever, the hero is able to create a new plan and conquer, defeat the bad guy. So that is there. Yeah, cool.
Let's see. High Tech Wizard gave a super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting these. It's really helped me. How do I take my large scale setting ideas and magic system and make interesting characters to explore that lore and discover how the world works? I think the easiest, quickest, maybe not the quickest, but the easiest way and probably the most effective way to explore lore and how a world works is to make something going wrong in the present day that the characters have to confront and have to deal with, and maybe a problem they have to solve that they can only solve through understanding how the world works. Okay, so I know that's very vague, but it takes many different forms depending on what you're writing. This could be, a sci-fi where you have characters who are, getting in a spaceship and going to some distant planet to solve some sort of problem.
Yeah, I don't think she writes much sci-fi either, but like, because yeah, I don't write sci-fi anymore. My first like screenplay that when I started trying to study writing 4 years ago, that was the only sci-fi. There's sci-fi elements in my series idea, but I was just thinking how when it comes to world building, that can be kind of yeah difficult, depressing, but this is what makes it fun, like the way Abby is describing it in just the way it is, where you want to introduce a problem in that world, maybe be specific about some details in that world setting. Yeah, that makes it more fun because approaching world building is one of those things that's been very, very difficult to think about, that it makes me too depressed if I don't articulate why it's difficult.
And the whole mission that they're trying to accomplish is tied up in the world building. So we, like by osmosis, we learn about the world building because they're on this mission to solve this problem, right? It's not just getting dumped on us in like a boatload of exposition. Or if it's a fantasy, maybe they have to go on a quest to like break some ancient curse or find some magic artifact. And as they go on this quest, as they go on this journey, as they try to solve this problem, they're encountering obstacles, they're encountering how the world works, they're encountering the magic systems and the government and the opposition. And it's happening like in real time, if that makes sense. So like instead of pausing to be like, well, once upon a time, long ago, there was this problem, it's like the problem's right in our face. The characters are dealing with it right now in the moment. So that could be magic, it could be science, it could be the government, it could be religions, whatever your story may be. Hopefully that helps. A super chat came in from Richard Baranowski. Thank you so much. You said, could a character trying to prove their worth count as a misbelief? Maybe male character's trying to show his love and trust that he can be the man she deserves, but if she'd give him a chance. Yeah, proving their worth, that can absolutely be a good false belief. The false belief of I am not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of you, if he's thinking that about her. That can absolutely be a good driver of conflict. So asking yourself, like, how is he going to overcome that? How is he going to overcome this obstacle and come to see his own self-worth? That's the journey that you're really taking him on. And this could probably come from like an internal core wound, something that maybe happened in his past or in his childhood that made him start feeling this way, and then feels like he has to prove his worth, but probably discovers that there's nothing he has to physically do or become to prove his worth, because she's probably already in love with him and thinks that he's worthy and has been all along. So I don't know how your story is going to shake out, but that seems like a really good conflict for your character to be struggling with. Let's see, I'm gonna grab a couple more here. Hello, may I ask if you have any tips on making smooth transitions between scenes? Also, I've noticed I've avoided including breaks in the middle of a chapter. Is that all right? I like to skip transitions altogether whenever I can. So I think like making a time break or having a chapter break is honestly the best way to switch scenes. I never miss it ever. Like, tell me, you guys can tell me if you miss it, but when you're reading a book and like there's a chapter break and suddenly the characters are in a new location at the next interesting thing that's happening, are you like, oh, bummer, I wanted to see how they got there? No. No, usually I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we got to skip that part. So if it's boring to you,
Yeah,
it's going to
true.
be boring to your reader. That is my golden rule. One more before we get to our next friend from Ayla Grace. How do I get momentum to keep writing my book when I'm more than halfway through, but there's still a lot to write, but I'm getting bored?
There's still a lot to write, but I'm getting bored. I'm can relate where it's like halfway done, kind of halfway done with this review, a little less than halfway done. Not getting bored, just a lot of directions and need to tie it together. But yeah, so after this, I do want to listen to more of these questions. Sorry, yeah, when I like these live streams, it's been a while. When if you watch these live streams and she takes a break to answer questions, it's been a while. I feel like since I've listened to these, and these are like kind of a masterclass at times. This is what regular film professors and stuff, when you're trying to learn about making films, this is pretty much stuff they'll say, even though she's specifically doing novels. So just like listening to these answering the questions, like it feels like a community. It feels like what am I trying to say? Just it feels like I'm gonna be moving in the right direction, because then like with the things that she was saying about character voices and stuff, that was literally inspiring me thinking about my next short film that I told you guys was gonna start planning in August. So wow, yeah, I'm gonna try to listen to a few more questions. Well, do that, let me pack a bowl, I guess. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And what this is, it's a good sign. Boredom is actually a great sign. It's a sign of mastery. I talked about this
Oh
in
yeah,
past live trainings before.
boredom is a sign of mastery.
Okay, think about like figure skaters, for example. Olympic figure skaters go to the rink and train every single day. Do you think they get sick of their performance ever? Do you think they ever get bored with that choreography and having to drill it over and over
Yeah.
again? They probably get really bored because it's like, this is every day for me now. This is old hat. This is like not exciting and challenging anymore. Boredom is actually a sign that you are getting so good at what you're doing that you have come up to this level where it's now feels normal to you. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your story. I call this the mid-draft slump, and you can get through it. I actually have a great training on my Story University platform that's called Mid-Draft Momentum. It's all about breaking through this feeling of boredom, this feeling of like, oh, I just hit a lull. I'm not sure how I'm going. And what that really is it's that you've reached this level of mastery. Maybe not like the tippy top, because we're always learning, right? We're always growing. We're students of life, but you've reached a point where
Yeah, true.
it's become so normal to you that it's a little bit boring. And that's good. That's a sign that you've improved. That's a sign that you've grown and you've become really comfortable with where you are. Now you can add things to your story at this point still to spice it up, make it more interesting for yourself. Absolutely, I would recommend doing that. Like if at this point you can throw in a trope that you love, and it doesn't have to change the whole course of the story. Like let's say you love forced proximity or the stranded together trope, where you're like, oh well, my story isn't about people being stranded together, but you could have.
I don't think about tropes as often.
Scene where they like get accidentally trapped in a place where they don't want to be. You know, the elevator gets stuck, whatever. They get left on an island, just the two of them. They have to survive in the woods, whatever it may be. Like throw in something that you know. Oh, if this happened in the next chapter, and I was a reader, I would. This would make me want to keep reading. Put that in your next chapter. It's my challenge for you. Put that in your next chapter to see if you get a little more excited to dive back into the story. But I think
Add some tropes, yes. I mean, for me, it's tropes within the sense of film aesthetics that I would like to see in the stuff I make. Those are a lot of the times driven by other aesthetics and things, sensibilities and stuff. But yeah, let's listen to a few more questions, answers, and then I'll jump into my work. Okay. I'm trying to find the moment here.
I love the book so much. I can't find anything on its official website. To me, a rewrite is like basically like a gut job of a house, right? Where you are like, you're just tearing everything out, you're knocking down walls, you're rebuilding things. It's gonna look totally different when you're done.
True.
Versus a revision is more of like on a scene to scene level, you're making still some heavy duty edits, but it's more like redecorating your entire house. Like you're taking all the furniture out and replacing it, you're painting the walls, you're redecorating. It's gonna look still
You
different.
redecorate it?
The footprint's
Don't
the same.
like it.
That's kind of how I see it. Is like the footprint of the story is the same with revisions. You're just doing some scene to scene changes to strengthen elements of the plot. A lot of people call this developmental edit. To me, a revision and a developmental edit are kind of the same things. But we all use different terms. So hopefully that clears up. But really, I think it depends on how much work you feel your book needs. Let's see. Ethereal Book Serenity asked, hey everyone, will you do a Q&A based live video? That's what we're current, right? Yes, I'm gonna be having live stream this coming Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. I have to put up the watch page for that, which I forgot to do. I usually have done by now, but this Wednesday, mark the calendar. I think it's the 22nd. Yeah, the 22nd, and it will be around 3 p.m. that we're doing that. So, keep an eye out for that. You can ask any questions then, and I will be answering more questions than I do here in these Sprite lives. Awesome. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Question from Fusion Burst Official. Is it okay to split one giant book into 3 parts and publish them separately because the whole thing would be.
Where did I put my pipe? That's what I'm looking for.
I think that actually be a much smarter way to publish it, especially if you feel like there are natural breaks where you could split it into 3 volumes.
Did she say bundle shit?
A much smarter way to publish it, especially if you feel like there are natural.
Okay. So listen to a few more minutes of questions. God damn, I'm getting a little fidgety from that vape. Yeah.
Huge difference. Maybe just in then get into our 3rd and final sprint. So, type of questions in the chat. Keep me helpful. Super chat came in. Cookies, please. Thank you so much. What's the difference with horror, mystery, and thriller? It's a good question. I feel like there might not be a huge difference
between thriller.
That would probably be a question for Google and not me. I'm not an expert on thriller or horror, but I feel like maybe the difference there is more of a thriller probably has more to do with like events and
suspense. Oh, yeah.
And horror maybe leans more towards the paranormal, but it probably depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't say, but definitely want to check if you are in the process of categorizing your book and you want it to fall in the right categories. Sometimes, especially when it's
where did I put that lighter?
multiple genres, it's good to just like double check or to be aware of the genres that you have as opportunities, because sometimes there are shelves that we didn't even know existed that are like, oh, well, that's exactly what my book is. And it can be really helpful, especially if you're self-publishing, to really narrow down your categories of where your book belongs. Dedicated Daydreamer gave it super chat. Thank you so much. You said, hello, I have so much appreciation for what you do. Question, do you have any plans for reboots of the series, specifically the 3-act structure? I'm curious how much has been learned / changed since then. Yeah, I would honestly love to revisit that series and to like reboot it, because I feel like I have learned so much over the past years about the character-driven 3-act story structure, and especially with my new book coming out, Make Your Story Matter, I use some good story examples throughout this book, kind of breaking down the 3-act story structure. So I feel like it would be cool to see a visual version, like a visual reboot of that.
Yeah. These few more minutes of lecture kind of question answering is great, but I've definitely done enough of the preparations that I've needed to. I can jump into it and just take a few more bites of this popcorn chicken and smoke the small bowl and then jump into it.
Kat asked, hi, Abby, love what you do. thank you so much. Any tips for world building a complex fantasy world for a series? Yes.
Another world building question.
World building that I think you would love them. One is the live training that I shared a like half-hour segment of on YouTube a while ago. And I think it's called World Building 101. I could be talking about that. If you have an Abby Ammons World Building on YouTube, it should come right up. I would highly recommend checking that one out. Also, there's an Ask Abby video that's really good about world building through action, exposition through action, and the tips I give in that video are really good as well. But essentially, you want to build the world from the protagonist outward. So a lot of people world build the opposite way. They start with like the big world and then the small world and then the protagonist world. But oftentimes that makes you trip over your own world building because you get so overwhelmed and you overwhelm your reader with all of this like high level information that they do not need to know because it does not personally affect the protagonist's life or what they're doing or their
There's
goals
movies like that.
So I always like to say like start
There's
with
movies
the
like that.
in their inner world, as in their internal conflict, their desire, fear, false from there. What is in their small world? Like think of it like a concentric circle. Like we have the protagonist in their little inner world, and then their small world, that's like their occupation, their friends, their personal connections, their enemies, anybody in their life, their friends, family, and the actual problems they face on a daily basis. And then that's pretty much all we need to know. But if we want to know more of where the world came from, then we can start to expand out there one more circle out to the big world. That's the government, the magic systems, nature, any like religion, science, history, myths, mythology, all of that stuff is like part of the big world. And it's funny because a lot of people teach world building the opposite way. They're like, so how everything came to be? What's the magic like? Who are what's the religion? What's the science? Like what's the history of the world? And that's a nice stuff to know, but it doesn't really have
Yeah, I'm sure.
So figure out those two things first, and then work your way out from there. That would be my advice. Let's see, a couple more super chats came in. First one, thanks for the daily prompts emails. Abby, I went back and used a previous one as motivation to go back and make notes on scenes that stop without ending. Awesome. I'm so glad those daily inspiration emails have been helping you out and that you went back and got inspiration. That's so great to hear. If you guys want to get those daily inspiration emails, you can sign up for the writing retreat if you haven't already. The link is below this video. And a super chat from Richard Garadowski. Thank you so much. What would you say is the main difference between a morally gray hero and an anti-hero? What's the main distinction? Is that a trick question?
They're kind of the same, yeah.
I feel like that's a trick question. I don't know that there is a big difference. I would say an anti-hero doesn't necessarily have to redeem themselves. Whereas a morally gray hero, I feel like they do. They do have to have some sort of transformative arc where they turn away from their morally grayness.
But you would call Saul Goodman an anti-hero and a morally great hero.
Hero doesn't have to do that necessarily. It's satisfying if they do, but like I feel like you can have an anti-hero character who's just kind of looking out for themselves, and you can still care about them. Like you can still create conflict for them, but they don't necessarily have to like redeem themselves like a hero does. I feel like the hero of the story, like they have to end the story like as a good role model, right? That's some sort of transformation for the positive. That's I think what I would say is the distinction. It's a small nuance, but hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's get into our third and final sprint here. I'm gonna reset the timer and
Well, it's time to jump into it, yeah. And then after this, before I jump into editing, I'm gonna work out. But like I said, 18 minutes of recording time left on this SD card. Then yeah. Wait, did I smoke my bowl? Let me play some music. I've been listening to some Mozart lately. I think that's pretty good. When I try to listen to those frequency musics, a lot of those on YouTube, I never thought about the sort of Mozart 40, whatever, 400 some hertz music. It's supposed to be good for brain power, good for studying, good for memory, and it's good shit. Good stuff. Let's see. Where's my iPad? Oh, did I smoke that bowl? I can't remember anything. Information overload, right? So yeah, after this, working out is definitely my best thing to do after this before I start editing. Because it's been feels like almost a week. And I've been so consistent. Oh, yeah, I didn't smoke the bowl. Music time. Mozart. Just pacing around. Because this vape is almost done. This vape sucks. It's going off by itself. Why is this fucking vape going off by itself? I'm fucked. It's like a bomb. It's going off by itself. Damn, what a day. I literally have to figure this shit out. It still hasn't stopped. Why don't these come with an off button? What kind of vape goes off for this long? It's still going off. This is like a bomb or some shit. That's enough of the vaping for now. That shit is still going off. I'm fucking done. Stop it, you stupid vape. Fuck, man, that's terrible. Whatever. Guess I got my use out of it. Tour. I've had enough of this. Can't wait to work out after this. This is a long ass break. I should really get going. See, I'm keeping my days more simple. Not too much sort of sensory overload, information overload. We'll pause that music. No, it's good music. We'll keep it going. We'll play a different Mozart one. I don't know how to turn this shit off. I think you guys can hear it. I don't want to risk hearing it on the camera. That's disappointing, but that means I'm done vaping for now too. So that feeling when you check off a lot of videos on your watch later playlist. Yo, I still hear that vape going off. That's crazy. Yo, please stop. Do I have to shake it or some shit? You need to stop. There we go. Finally. That was horrible. How much smoke did I waste there? But whatever. Whatever. God damn, man. Why do I prolong break time like this just in the name of smoking? I'm gonna take 2 more hits of this vape, then I'm gonna do some reading the notes so I practice it instead of standing in front of the camera waiting for it to flow correctly. And yeah, should be done soon. I'll just use the bathroom real quick, guys. Be right back. Let me put the phone down. Yep, so I was just coughing, catching my breath for those minutes that I was silent on stuff. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this to myself. That's not fun. That's not worth it. That was only 2 hits of that vape, and I coughed that much for those minutes. That's no way to live, is it? So that's gonna be a good enough reason for me not to vape for at least like a day or two. Let me put that vape away. And that means I have to do some work on myself to not make that vape appealing. I don't remember what it's like to have a vape and keep it away for a few days. So let me practice that. Because it's crucial. I have to remind myself that I cough this much, and then that's just such a waste of time, waste of energy. When I started streaming for a good reason. All right. Only reason I'm still kind of taking a break is because I'm catching my breath, and I do. I. It's a speech video. It's a review video. So. One thing that I don't think about as much that I wish I do, like fun things that I was doing summer 2022 and 2021 and 2023. It's kind of hard to remember. Hopefully, I could meditate on that maybe soon. Fun things that I could remember that I was doing in those over 5 years ago. And I got a colorful aura like I got neon guts. God damn.
Ellie here for Who Culture, and welcome to your literally had Billie Piper as the next Doctor plastered across the cover. This feels like perhaps they're maybe venturing more towards the same mindset that a lot of us are, that Billie Piper is going to kind of be swept under the rug, and we're never going to get an answer to that question. And if we go by this image especially, it kind of feels a little bit like maybe they're kind of branching towards this idea of either retconning or brushing aside or completely ignoring that Ncuti Gatwa actually regenerated into Billie Piper and depicting that regeneration as an open-ended one. Now, firstly, this is actually very, very fitting because we recently released a video discussing Tidy Away, and it does baffle me that that we'll kind of start to see more now in this strange role that really feels like just stunt casting and nothing else. I can't help but feel sorry for her in all of this because she probably just came in to do a favour to an old friend. And by doing that, she's opened this massive can of worms that she now will be questioned about forevermore and really will have absolutely no answer to give, because why would she know? She, as the actor and as the friend of Russell T Davies, came in and recorded something at the last minute as a favour. She doesn't know what the story is. She doesn't know what the story was planned to be. And she will now forever be kind of bogged down by this cloud that's going to be surrounding her, which she can't actually explain or give any answers to. You know, she had this great Doctor Who legacy, which I feel now has been tainted a little bit. She's kind of being ignored in this position, and I think she shouldn't have been put in this position in the first.
Yeah, totally Russell T Davis's fault there.
Place. We all know why they did the Billie Piper thing, but in hindsight, it's completely backfired, and now you're stuck in this sticky situation where you're going to have to either address something that no one wants to be touched because it's just so messy, or ignore something that's going to really irate a lot of fans. Sticky situation all around. I don't know, let me know your thoughts on all of these things in the comments down below. Who Culture and in the West.
Oh, it's time. I'll start the timer, and the first task in this sprint is to kind of reread these notes and memorize them so that I can speak them more fluently and get the most use of my, what is it, 18 minutes left of record time. Let's do that. Oh, Jesus. You guys saw me firsthand here what procrastination looks like for me. No more. Tired of the shit. God damn, man. Fulminated mercury. Last pipe hit. Shit, guys, looks like my phone is about to die. So, this was a good sprint. Let me practice my lines. Then let me record my lines. Should be done before 5 p.m., I think. Let's get it.